Well, salutations, kindred spirits. Welcome to another online sleight of hand learning experience. And in this video, we'll be discussing some of the most important skill sets for a sleight of hand performer. I'm talking about manipulation of a single coin, different ways you can palm the coin, vanish techniques, recoveries, and flourishes, and we'll put all these in a little routine you can do. And let me tell you the power of a single coin and how 7, maybe 8-year-old Dougie was influenced by Grandpa Winkler. He had the power of the French drop, so he could make a coin vanish anywhere and, oh, it's behind your ear, and bring it back wherever I wanted. This blew my mind and was the first spark of magic that I can recall as a young man. So as we enter these lessons, let's remember the power of a single coin and then also the flexibility. So if you can learn to manipulate a single coin, get a good finger palm, maybe get a good classic palm down, you'll always be able to do magic because you can always find a coin or maybe a rock or a shell, something like a coin, because the lessons we'll learn today, the palms will apply to other small objects as well. And this is just another benefit of learning sleight of hand with a single coin. So, hey, let's get started with some of the basic palms and some of the vanishes that apply to them. And let's get started with the basic finger palm technique. This is concealing a coin at the base of your fingers as they naturally curl. The fingers should curl down one a little more to the next until your pinky is curled the most, and a coin should fit right in there as they curl down naturally. I did the French drop earlier. When you do a French drop, and this is Coin Magic 101, the French drop, holding a coin in this position, the other hand covers the coin, and as the hand covers the coin, it is dropped into the finger palm position. So this is the French drop vanish, and here we are learning our first vanish technique. Here's a technique I want to point out. Note when I take the coin, it's at this position with my fingertips pressed against the thumb. I don't close into a fist. I think this is a bad technique to take a coin into a closed hand in a fist. I mean, sometimes you'll want to do it that way, but whenever possible, consider taking a coin pinched at the fingertips and thumb, or not pinched as the case might be, because we're dropping it down into the finger palm. Here I'm going into a Ramsey subtlety. Let me mention this. Sometimes a magic book will talk about the Ramsey subtlety. It's this, exposing the inner hand with a coin finger palm. So it's like you can see the palm of the hand and some of the flesh of the other fingers. This implies that the hand is empty, but it's in fact in that finger palm grip. That is the Ramsey subtlety from John Ramsey. That's the basic vanish, the French drop vanish. We're going to advocate taking it at the fingers. While I'm advocating the French drop techniques, let me also suggest doing it from this grip, from sideways instead of like front on. This is a little bit unnatural. This is a little more natural because it could be like I could look at a coin this way or I could look at it this way. Usually I wouldn't look at it this way, right? It's a little weird. So a more natural French drop would be to say it's tails on the back, and then first you want to make the illusion of clumsiness to disarm the audience. It's tails on the back, it's heads on the front. I'm going to flip it, you call it, oh, wait a minute. Oh, went up my sleeve. Okay, there we go. So that's the basic French drop, and well, we just did our first reproduction, pulling the coin from finger palm to the fingertips. That's not rocket science. I'm just kind of pushing it to the thumb, usually doing this behind either like my elbow, or maybe I'm going behind your ear to pull out the coin. One fun thing you can do if you're pulling the coin from clothing, you can kind of pinch behind the clothing. So let me see if I can get in here a little bit. I'm going to go behind the shirt and pinch my shirt with my thumb and my forefinger, and then pull the shirt away and let the shirt snap off, and then bring the coin into view. So I've got the coin finger palm. I'm going to pinch the shirt, pull the shirt away, and I'm thinking this view is going to be better. So now you're going to see the shirt come away. I've got that coin pinched behind it, so now it makes its appearance in this fashion. Boop. That's a great recovery if you're going to pull something from your elbow or from behind your clothing. And we're off to the races with French drop and some variations of how you might want to present that. A lot of magicians start with this vanish. I actually don't think the French drop is a great vanish. It's serviceable, but if I were to advocate a better beginner vanish, I'm going to go back to the oldest trick in the book, literally, in Reginald Scott's Discovery of Witchcraft. He advocated this technique where you simply put your thumb on the coin as you apparently place it into another hand, and I'd advocate taking it at the fingertips again for this kind of vanish. So this is I call it the put your thumb on it vanish. And it's in finger palm basically to start the vanish. So I'm ready to finger palm the coin as the hand turns down. This is an alternative technique we'll discuss next, just a shuttle pass finger palm. But here we're going to turn the hand down, and as the hand turns down, my thumb goes atop the coin. Thumb goes atop the coin, and here it is from this view. As the hand goes down, the thumb goes atop. And this hand will then move away, and we're following our rule of the clean hand moves first. Good sleight of hand practice. Always have that clean hand moving first. And here I'm talking about this. As I pretend to put it in this hand's going to move away first. It's the clean hand. This hand's palming. It's dirty. So it's going to stay stationary as I proceed with my routine. And at the end of this video, we'll advocate a little three or four step routine, moving from one to the next, one vanish, recovery, another one. It's a great way to practice this kind of thing so that you have kind of a sequence of things that you can do for folks. So this is the Discovery of Witchcraft vanish. Did he call it, did he have a name for this thing? I'm not sure. If there is one, I'll put it on the screen, but it's the put your thumb on it vanish. As your hand turns down, you put your thumb on it. The fingertips come away, curling into the finger palm position. That's after this hand moves away with the supposed coin. And boy, I probably use this technique as much or more than any other coin vanish, and I would advocate that you not only learn it, but maybe you learn to do this with both hands as well. This being able to do a vanish from one hand or the other is certainly advantageous, and this is as good as any to learn, as it is not too challenging, physically. Right, so once you've got comfortable with your finger palm, I think the second one to work towards is maybe a good thumb palm technique, concealing the coin, the grip between the base of your thumb and first finger. I think I was introduced to this in Bobo's Coin Magic, and I can remember the illustration with the coin clip between the first two fingers, and then as the hand bends down, it's able to be pinched in there. As I'm doing these moves, my thumb's moving out a bit. Let me give you a tell here. If there's anything that will give away your palming or it's kind of your sleight of hand with coins, moving this thumb excessively is one of them. So let me make this cautionary tip number one. Watch that thumb movement as the coin is doing its secret work. But yeah, getting the coin into the thumb palm, just have it clipped here, bend the coin inwards, and then clipped at the base between the thumb and the first finger. Here it is here, moving into thumb palm. That's method one. You could also do it this way, and honestly, this is a more natural technique, just kind of flipping it into thumb palm from the tips of the fingers. So this would allow you to not have the coin clipped, which is just a little weird. And you can actually get it into the clip in transition, but having it pinched here and then either sliding the coin backwards, or I kind of flip it in there into a thumb palm. So we could do like a coin vanish like this, right? I generally prefer the thumb palm for a switch as opposed to a vanish, but here I'm just flipping it into the thumb palm as I apparently toss it over. Not going to really advocate this technique for the thumb palm. The technique I'm going to advocate is the spider vanish, which is the vanish I opened this video with. It's an Ed Marlowe ruse. Ed Marlowe, famed card man, he introduced this vanish, the spider vanish, many moons ago, and it's kind of a sucker vanish that mimics the French drop, and it gives your audience the implication after you've pretended to vanish the coin that you might have hidden it in the other hand, and then you're able to open the other hand to show the vanish. So it's a sucker vanish, and you actually take the coin, in this case, you're taking it directly into a thumb palm, But then you're making a subversive move here with this hand, trying to make it guilty as though you've kind of done something secret. Then you imply the coin has vanished. I think Ed Marlowe advocated tossing it to the ground. You could toss it into the air and look up as well. And then when your audience looks for the coin here, that's where the coin is actually vanished. That's the moment. And as this hand opens, it's at this moment you'll want to move that thumb palm coin into a finger palm. Thumb palm's okay, but not as natural, right? It's kind of like that thumb is stuck there. If the most comfortable palm is probably the finger palm, although really the most advantageous palm is the classic palm. But before I talk about that, is there anything else I want to say about this spider vanish or the thumb palm? We'll be discussing the Bobo switch in the copper silver section if you want to see how you can use the thumb palm in a switch. So stay tuned for that. And the last of the big three techniques I'd like to discuss is the classic palm, concealing a coin at the base of your thumb and the base of your pinky. And this really is a valuable technique as it kind of gives your hand another hand, and this is something you'll want to rehearse with both hands, and this is a skill set that will take practice. Let me talk about getting it into the palm first. It happens off the second and third finger here, so I pick it up with the thumb and the second and third finger balanced right on the tip. This is probably the ideal camera. Then as the hand kind of gently closes, the coin is placed into that position. Uh-oh, look at my thumb move here. I'll tell you a good tip when you're practicing the coin magic. Keep your thumb pressed against the tip of the first finger, and that'll prevent that flare out thumb that I was talking about earlier. So this is a good way to practice putting the coin in there with it on the tips of the second and third, the first and second finger pinched. And let's do this camera. What I'll often do is kind of flip the coin there and display it before I do kind of a false toss. I think I was introduced to this vanish in Bobo's Coin Magic book. He had the illustration with the hand across the fingertips. This is a great classic palm vanish. This is a good way to start learning it, kind of folding the hand closed. You're just going to palm the coin as the hand turns down. Eventually you'll learn the dynamics that will allow you to move this vanish kind of further and further. This technique for me inspired by Albert Goshman. If you haven't studied Albert Goshman, go take a look at his coin vanish. It was just crazy how he would toss a coin from one hand to the other. Jeff Latta is another modern master you'll want to study down the rabbit hole, but for today, picking the coin up, keep that finger against the thumb, balance it against the second and third finger, and then a couple of ways you can go. You can put it there, turn the hand up, or you could even put it into classic as you apparently place the coin into your hand. So in this case, I'm just placing it into a classic palm as the hand goes towards the fist, and from here it looks like there's a coin goes in the fist. So that's another option for classic palm vanish. Before I get too far ahead of myself, we've already discussed the finger palm production. Let me give you a couple ideas on how to reproduce a coin either from thumb palm or from classic palm. The thumb palm reproduction is basically a reversal of the technique that puts it in there, bending the first and second finger inward, pinching the coin between the first two fingers, and let's say I'd made the coin vanish by the spider vanish. If I wanted to reproduce it from here, I'd go behind, and while I'm under there, these two fingers go in and just bring the coin out. So the coin vanishes, and the coin comes back. And that is the thumb palm retrieval. And then my favorite way to reproduce a coin from classic palm is the Laham mask load. Laham mask load, another technique you'll find in Bobo's Coin Magic, just loading the coin into the hand from classic palm as the hand caresses around it. I'll give you a little more detail here. Let's assume we've done our classic palm vanish. Here's a nice tip, is after I pretend to put the coin in the hand, I can jiggle the hand hand, bouncing at the wrist, letting the fingertips bounce up and down. Rarely am I, not rarely, never am I in a clenched, tight fist. There's always an air of naturalness and looseness about the coin manipulation. So there's a tip, and then we affect our magic moment, make the coin appear to vanish. This is a nice touch too, as the fingers and thumb the fingers go under the hand, the thumb is on the top, so we've made our coin vanish. We're going to do this gesture, kind of a two-handed equipment to show the coin has vanished. And after we convince our audience the object has vanished, we're going to make a fist, leaving a hole at the top of the fist, and then as the classic palm hand caresses the closed hand, just kind of rubbing across or maybe squeezing the fist, that coin is allowed to drop into that hole and then is revealed after an appropriate pause. This is the La Mask reproduction. All right, before we talk just a little about routining these ideas together, let's talk about the coin roll or the steeplechase, rolling a coin across the back of your knuckles. You could keep this in one hand, or you could go from hand to hand, and the starting grip is this, pinched between your thumb and your wide part of the knuckle. We're going to let the coin drop horizontally across the base of the knuckle and then raise the finger next to it and pinch it vertically, rinsing and repeating this process down the fingers. So the coin drops here, lift and pull, drop, lift and pull, drop, lift and pull. So if we're going from hand to hand, at this point, this hand turns downward, allowing the receiving hand to pinch in the opening grip, and then boom, 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 and we could do this all day. You're going to need to do this all day for a few weeks to get good at it. It'll take some practice. It took me maybe a month to get comfortable. If you want to do this, the one-handed roll, it's the thumb that goes underneath the hand, balancing the coin on the tip and then bringing it across to the starting position, and that's how you do that one-handed. And that's the coin roll. This is not only good for presentation hooks, it's also a nice way to naturally move a coin from one hand to the other as you roll it across. And sometimes you'll want to do casual transfers, and as opposed to just putting the coin there, you naturally roll it. That's a good way to get around those moments. All right, all that's left from here, behind your ear there, is to take some of these ideas and routine them together into a little sequence. For example, after you produce the coin from someone's ear, you might suggest that rolling the coin across your fingers warms up the silver, softening the metal, making it almost malleable. And if you know how to use this, and I do, we can squeeze the coin until it's completely naked to the invisible eye. Now, reversing the friction makes the coin big again, and if you keep it warm, you can keep it working. Look, it'll go over here, right up the sleeve. Sometimes it goes down the sleeve, and sometimes it goes up my nose. That's magic with a single coin. So that was a little one coin. We call that a flurry, a series of vanishes and reproductions, and I would suggest the student put together such a sequence for yourself. Choreograph 2 or 3 or even 4 moments that you're comfortable with. You know, maybe start the coin and finger palm, a little Ramsey moment as we produce the coin from our spectator's ear or clothing. That's always fun for them to watch. And then I like to use these plausible presentation moments. So I say I warm up the coin. This is a great bit. You flex the wrist and it looks like the coin is softening. It's just a visual, but if you're building up your audience with the presentation and they're along for the ride, this is kind of believable. And then when you tell them the coin can be shrunk into a little ball, and here we're just executing our basic classic palm vanish. And then this is nice. I didn't mention it before. This is the Mellini subtlety. It's like the Ramsey subtlety, but with classic palm. And here we're exposing as much flesh as possible without exposing that palm here. So keeping this part of the hand presented to the audience. And for me, this moment works great after I tell the audience that I can make the coin small. It's a small coin. Okay, sure. And then the La Mask mode to reproduce it. So I'm going to make a small ball, and I say if I reverse the friction, I load the coin in there, squeeze a little bit, and the coin comes back. From here, a good follow-up's that put the thumb on it vanish, and you can tell them, yeah, I just sneak it right up the sleeve. So from here, the left hand turns palm down, the right hand pretends to take the coin. That clean hand is moving away, and then we reproduce the coin from the sleeve. I'll tell you a good one to do here is the spider vanish. This is good because once an audience has seen a coin vanish and be reproduced a couple times, they start to second guess your moment. So this is where the spider vanish psychology really works well. As you do this and you say it vanishes again, now they're gonna look here, and this is where you put the fire hose on them and, you know, boink, produce it from your nose or wherever you want to finish. And while there's about 8,000 other things I could talk about regarding coin magic with a single coin, I think these introductory lessons with the classic palm, the vanish and recovery techniques, related flourishes and reproductions are enough to inspire you to put together a little routine so that when you come across 7-year-old Dougie, you'll be ready to inspire them, just like Grandpa Winkler inspired me. I think that's all I have to say about the topic for now. I'll see you on the next video.